All right. Hello, Joseph Rogers here, and I just have a message for anybody watching this that has a resolution for quitting drinking or cutting back on drinking. Something I just wanted to share real quick is my personal experiences with this, and what made me think to try to shoot this was one, I felt like it would be too much to write, and two, today is January 2nd, 2025. And I remember before I stopped drinking for good 6.5 years ago that each New Year's I took it as an opportunity to quit drinking. Like, this is going to be the year I'm going to do it, right? And I always found that day 3 was the hardest. And followed by day 3 was the first weekend after quitting drinking. And I found those two things pretty complicated when it came to like how I was feeling and whether or not I was going to not drink. Because after 3 days of not drinking, if you do drink every day or most days, after 3 days, you start feeling good. So you're like, I feel good. I feel like I can have a drink or two. That will be your first thought, probably. And there was a couple times where I listened to that thought, and it ultimately just resulted in me drinking for the rest of the year until I got to the next year. And then I'd do it again. But the next time around, I'd be like, I'm not going to listen to that day 3 voice where, you've did so good going 3 days and your body is thanking you and feeling so much better. You can have a drink, treat yourself. I was like, no, this year I'm not going to listen to myself, that voice. And I made it longer than 3 days, but ultimately I only made it like 2 or 3 weeks. And then I went back to drinking because I just felt like because I was able to take 3 or 4 weeks off, I got this. I won't go back to every day, but slowly it just goes right back to every day. And this is just my personal experience. You know, everybody's different. Everybody has different experiences with alcohol. I've seen people that can just drink fucking all day, every day, and it just seems like nothing, no negative results the next day, just right back at them. I couldn't do that personally. So when I see that, I'm like, dang, that's crazy. Anyway, eventually, what I'm trying to say is tomorrow's day 3 for some of you, if you're watching this, whatever. And it's going to suck. And you're going to try to tell yourself you can drink. And sure, you can do whatever you want. You're a fucking adult. It's freedom of choice. You can put whatever you want in your body. But if this is something that's been weighing you down for years, and you've been thinking about quitting drinking for more than 2 or 3 years, you should probably give it a serious shot. And you won't start seeing the results until 6 to 8 weeks. And then again at 6 months, if you can go that long. But the results you start seeing are very positive. You start having to come face to face with certain things that might have been buried deep within you for a long time. And you will have to face those things. And it is very difficult. But if you can do it and you can get past it, it's worth the wait. It's worth the pause or the break in drinking to resolve some of that stuff and figure out what it is your priorities are, right? Because for me personally, 6.5 years after quitting drinking, I feel like the one thing that I can take away that I really enjoy is I feel like I have more time in my life. I feel like all that time I wasted previously being hungover and drunk, which at any given day could have been 4 to 8 hours of just doing nothing productive, not doing anything that is going to get me to my long-term goals. And that time adds up. After years and years of doing that, you never get that time back. And when I quit drinking after about a year, I started realizing that all that time that I spent either hungover in bed or just out drinking from beer 1 to beer 10 to whatever, that was time that I could have been doing something more productive with my life. And so I have been using that time to be more productive in my life, and it's rewarded me with some really good things. Things that I know that I could not have done if I was still an everyday or most of the day drinker. So I feel pretty good about that. And the way I always look at it is like when I stopped drinking early, the first few months was really hard. It was so hard. But the mantra that I just kept telling myself, your future you will thank you. Your future you will look back on these rough times and say, thank you for not giving in, not giving up. And listen, if you fail, if you start drinking again, someone told me this, really good friend gave me some advice. They said, if you relapse, because I did relapse several times before I quit for good. If you relapse, don't let it get you down. Don't let it bug you. It's part of the process. Sometimes we have to take extended periods of time off, and then we have to relapse in order to learn how to adjust and adapt to a completely new way of living. And don't kick yourself if you end up drinking again after you make a resolution not to. Just acknowledge it and know that next time it's going to be different. So, yeah. That's all I wanted to say. This is just like a test run of a new setup that I got going on here. So, see how it sounds and looks. And if I'm feeling frisky, maybe I'll post it. But if your resolution was to quit drinking or to cut back, just give it all you got. You deserve to do that for yourself. Don't just give in. Just fight. Just keep on fucking fighting. And trust the process and trust that future you will love you. Even if it's 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, it doesn't matter. It's your life. You can do whatever the fuck you want, right? So, all right. Have a good night.